Whoever came up with the saying one-horse town evidently wasn't talking about Erickson, Nebraska. One gas station and a population of 92 people puts Wheeler County 13th lowest populated county in the lower 48 states. The ranch may have just started with one horse, but the late Howard Pitzer and 4 more generations have raised thousands of champions. Welcome to Pitzer Ranch.
Welcome to the Pitzer Ranch.
I got to know Grandpa real good. He died in '98 when I was a sophomore. And, you know, Howard, I was younger, obviously, when Howard was getting older, but I always knew Grandpa as the horse guy, and he was real knowledgeable, a real steady man.
His dad, Harvey, which would be my granddad, was one of the old traveling horse traders. Before they had a lot of vehicles and stuff, they'd go across country and buy cattle and horses and trail them to the next big city and then put them through an auction there. So when Howard grew up as a little boy, he was trailing mules and horses and milk cows and everything and driving them, 30, 40 miles to the next auction. He had a talent, but it was a developed talent. I mean, from the time he was little, that's what he knew. That's what he knew how to do.
He started showing horses in 55 or 6, something like that. Really, he told Mom, he said, we'll just do it to have fun with a 2-horse trailer. And that's what it went into.
He started out back in the 50s with an old Oklahoma Star horse. Had Two-Eyed Jack. Two-Eyed Jack and Howard were both, my granddad, they were both inducted in the Hall of Fame the same year in the AQHA.
If it wasn't for the cattle, we wouldn't have this because the cows bought Two-Eyed Jack.
Two-Eyed Jack is the leading sire of AQHA champions with 119 AQHA champions. You can count his youth champions and so he'd have even way more, but he is the #1. I think the second leading sire only has 60-some.
He was a very dominant horse. He's still in the top 5 horses of all time for total number of points earned by his get. And, he's a horse that's been dead for a long time.
Howard's reputation and the ranch's reputation it's huge, Everybody knows about it. It's world renowned. We have customers come around from all over the world, and it's kind of a really amazing thing,
I didn't know Howard really well, but well enough that, I knew he was a pretty good guy, and he'd talk to me all the time, and yeah, he was an interesting man for sure. He's had a vision here, and it's unbelievable.
Grandpa was the leading breeder of all time in the industry, so that was a pretty big influence in the quarter horse breed, and I think most people kind of know that. And us as a family, we try to carry that on as good as what we can.
My granddad had a big step, and he's a hard guy to follow. He'd done a lot of things and sure didn't want to let it down because he'd been very successful. It kind of throws it on your shoulders. You feel like you need to try pretty hard.
We're still going on with everything that Howard started, still doing the horse stuff, still got the same old bloodlines. We've continued with studs that he left us with and built the program from there. And in the future, I'm not planning on going nowhere. I'm staying right here and staying hooked.
The thing that people don't realize here is like how ranchy it can really be. Everybody pitches in here, whether you're guy, girl, little boy, little girl, whatever, old, young, you know, it's ranchy, it really is. A lot of people, they don't understand how this really works, but it's wide open country up here, and sometimes you really gotta cowboy it, and that's what makes it fun.
My dad, he obviously is kind of the head honcho. He makes most of the decisions. Still rides a lot of horses, trains and shows. My husband Lane, he does a lot of the training, you know, a lot of the horses that are younger, the colts, and then he'll get them roping, and then Dad and I will usually take them from there and do more of the in training. It takes everybody to run this place, so we kind of all have our little jobs, but we all help each other do everything.
I've basically taken over just being the main ranch hand, jack of all trades, master of none. We do whatever we need to do from day-to-day operations, just keep everything going. The winter time at times can be fairly cold and fairly hard on the livestock. And you know, we're getting them 2-year-old bulls ready for a bull sale. It's pretty important to keep them cattle on a fairly good ration to keep a cow growing when it's -9 degrees.
I spend most of my time up at the breeding barn during the summer. We AI mares. There's usually 3 studs that we AI up at the breeding barn. We have to sort through the whole broodmare band, which is 300 to 400 mares sometimes.
We don't tend to be real extreme either one way or the other in the breed, but we try to breed for just good horses, good quality using horses.
You know what the stud is genetically dominant at. Every horse has good and bad characteristics, so you just try and look at this mare and say she needs this to be improved.
We kind of get to decide our own. We all kind of own some of our own mares. It's pretty fun to see what we put our time into one summer, and then in the spring, I'm always going out there saying, oh, how'd that work?
We start all our colts here and put them through the paces and do our deal and just progressively work up to whatever our customer need is. You know, a lot of these horses we ride they're supposed to be personalized for who owns them.
My husband and I, we both train horses and ride with my dad every day.
When we're training colts, we're eventually training them up to be good rope horses.
We just try to make a horse that fits everybody and that everybody can ride and just kind of go get whatever job they need to get done. That was our little World Series run there.
Yeah, you roll them out there so nice. I'd really feel bad if I missed.
You walk through the trophy room and there's a lot of horses that Jim grew up on, and now Jim can tell you pretty much without me even riding him, he can tell me what he's going to feel like, and I'll come back 2 weeks later and say, you know what, you were exactly right. That is what his tendencies are, that's what he feels like. Because Jim's rode enough on the family tree. That's probably the biggest thing that keeps me wanting to ride horses is it's always fun to find that special one.
He kind of dogged you a step or two there.
Still felt better than anything I've been on at the house, so we're good.
It's the bloodline.
That's what sell that one, boy.
At one time, if I remember right, Dad hauled 16 horses at a time.
He told me this. He said, you got to keep going out and competing because the world always changes. You know, everything changes. And when they start beating you, you're obsolete. So we go out and compete.
Pitzer Ranch won the very first super horse when Jim was just out of high school.
When Jim had the super horse was Vicki Lee Pine. That was a really wonderful thing, and we were all tickled to death.
And then just a few years later, they won their second super horse award with one of the ranch studs called Mr. Baron Red.
2 years ago, we had a world champion head horse that was a two-eyed Jack Red horse. And this year we had a world champion heel horse that was a two-eyed Jack Red horse. We're still like modern enough with the times, but we're still retaining the old foundation and the old bloods.
It's really neat that a family could have been that successful, and it's nice to have that display, whatever aspect of the trophies that you're interested in or drawn to. It's nice for the educational sense that it provides to other people and hopefully provides some encouragement.
You walk in here and you see all these trophies, and there is a lot of work that goes into each and every one of those that maybe people don't necessarily realize.
Gramps showed for 12 years before he ever won a grant. And he always tried to instill that with the little kids, you know, just to give them encouragement. Just because you don't win one of those trophies, don't give up.
Oh, we always shoot to make the next world champion, you know. That always looks good on the ranch, and it helps sell the horses, definitely.
We have sales twice a year. We do a spring sale, usually the last Saturday in April every year.
I think this year is the 26th of April. We'll sell about 300 head on that. Be a lot of performance horses. It'll be heavy on geldings and broke horses.
And then in the fall, we'll do more of our production sale. We'll sell all of our babies from the year.
We sell most of our colts as weaners right off the mare. So we'll sell 250 some colts in the fall. And then we'll have a big gelding sale and, you know, brood mares and studs and other breeding stock.
Dad and I always try to come up with new things that we can do to try to get, you know, create that market for our horses.
In the fall, we have a ranch horse competition. It ties in with our horse sale.
Called the Ranch Horse Invitational, and only Pitzer bred horses can be in the Invitational. And it's a long, grueling day. I mean, it's you start at 8, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're still going at 10:30 at night.
Well, you're going to run through the river and go over the logs and along the wire, and you're going to be in some tough spots. And then we have a cow pen and a team roping and a barrel race, because when Dad's done doing his ranch work, he loads him up and goes to the jackpot, and his daughter rides him in the barrel racing. So that's the kind of horse we're trying to raise.
A lot of you are just guys that are pretty handy and ranchy, can go out and get it done and, you know, show that the Pitzer bred horses are just that type. They're just a versatile, kind of do everything type of horse.
Like, that's what today's modern world wants. They want a horse you can do your job on, and then you can go play on him on the weekends.
It's some fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's basically everything that you do on a ranch. I mean, you can go through the trail course and do that, and then you go rope some steers. You got to cut a few, you know, drive them up, and it's an interesting day for sure.
it's a fun time. We have a lot of customers that just come out the whole week, and that's their family vacation every year. They camp and watch us drive the mares in and compete in the Invitational, watch the Invitational. It's kind of a fun, fun deal for everybody that way. We have our son Kale, and he will be the grandson in the family, so we hope someday he wants to continue that part of his life if that's what he chooses to do. Don't really want to force him into it, but yet we kind of hope he does.
My granddad grew up with a gypsy horse trader father. They trailed cattle and horses to the different auctions and sold them. My dad worked here at the ranch as far as did the cattle work, the haying, all that stuff. There's a lot of just regular ranch work. We ran a lot of cows, and it just took a lot of ranch work. He was a real good ranch cowboy. He could rope a bull and ride a bronc and do all the stuff that a ranch hand that grew up in the 50s was supposed to do. When it was my turn, things were getting a little more modern. We had tractors finally and stuff. I grew up on the road with the horse shows. When I was 13, we'd be gone. You get out of school in the summertime, be gone for 3 months, I'd be gone, sure 2 months of that at a horse show. So that's all I ever did. Won the first super horse in '78, graduated in '77 from high school. So, I was fortunate to grow up that way.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you got to get your legs in.
And I've got a little grandson now that's 5, and we got him a pony, and we'll see if we can keep the deal going. We still got the same line of horses and the same line of people if we can just kind of keep the thing rolling along.
Hey, Grandpa. Watch what I can do. Stay right here.
It's kind of fun watching Grandpa be kind of proud. Getting that first pony. It's neat to just see him get that little spur of interest, and hopefully it'll continue.
When I was 8 years old, I rode her great-great-grandmother as a 2-year-old. And so it's fun to ride this line because it's been in the family a long time. Real talented mare, she's got a lot of speed. Cowie, kind you can do a hard day's work on. She'll never fall down on you. She'll drag you home through the river, whatever you run into, she'll take care of you.
I thought it was neat down there. I seen you and Kale riding. You were talking about generation after generation with the horses, and then you and your grandson riding together too. I thought that's pretty neat. Horses and trainers both.
We're the horses and the people are about all in the 4th generation now.
It's neat.
I think that this is an awesome place to grow up. I think that we're really blessed with all the opportunities as far as the river's right in our backyard, and you get to see 300 head of mares run down the road, and that's just not very common. Not everyone just gets to see that. And I think me coming into this family and seeing that I can offer kind of a fresh perspective on the fact that I didn't grow up that way. And it's a really awesome thing. And I think it's a great place to raise kids and to grow up.
Kendra and I both, she comes from a ranching background and grew up locally over here about 40 miles away. And we both made the decision, that we want to be involved and do continue the ranch the way that it's been and do a good job with it, and that is our goal, is to stay here and better the ranch and keep it a mainstream operation.
I never got to meet Howard, and I'm bummed about it because I hear a lot of stories about him, and I hear how it was and when Jack was there, and I think that it's a really special legacy. Look at all the trophies that are all around and stuff. It feels to me like it's something that is really important that needs to be upheld and reminded, that he put all that work into it and went to the shows and made the name. And I feel like it's our responsibility to uphold that.
It does put it in perspective though, like when you have you know, people that have never been here and they'll come for the sale. And I mean, you have little girls that come up to you and you're their idol. And, you know, it makes you think about it, and it makes you want to go out and push that horse a little harder the next day. Because, you know, when you're around that every day, sometimes you just maybe don't realize it like you would, you know, seeing it for the first time.
You know what those trophies are, don't you? They're a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. A lot of manpower. A lot of people that have been here. A lot of people that come back because it's home to them.
This ranch, it's kind of one of those things, and actually not just with the family. I mean, even the hired men that we've had in the past, you know, the customers, everybody, it's kind of, you know, we joke around and we call it the PPC. It's like you just never leave, you know, it's still in your blood, and everybody comes back.
We have a couple of greats coming along, and so we're in good shape. Now, if they can just remember part of everything that we've told them, they'll be in good shape.
He's 5 years old. He just has a lot of fun. His world's just as big as he wants it to be.
That's what we like. That's what we like.
You know, Jim learned his craft from his grandfather, and so hopefully, you know, you can provide that experience and he'll take a liking to it. I'm proud of what Jim and his grandfather have put together. I'm proud of my husband that he is willing to work hard and continue a legacy. He just wants to make his grandpa proud.
Howard had the good one. I got to bring him on. Now I got to try and hold it all together.